going to collect himself and recognize, hey, I'm a good player. I just have to eliminate a few mistakes, and I've got this. I'm going to be able to win this set.
All right, here we go. Juicy and I jumping into our next matchup. And we did not see any Royal Ghost from Ban in his match against Adriel, so switching things up dramatically here in match number 2, Juicy.
Yeah, Royal Ghost and Arrows, I would assume it's going to be a Royal Giant deck, which is what he's extremely comfortable with. And I think that's a good choice. You know, use your highest comfort deck in the first match. You know, stop trying to get super fancy with the deck picks and stay with what you're comfortable with. I think that gives him the highest chance of winning against Morten here.
And Morten making a little change, going with a Juicy J special.
Yep, Electro Giant at the bridge. Fisherman gonna try and pull here. Tornado does a great job though. Ban is, you know, not on his head though. He knows the Fisherman's gonna pull that Electro Giant in range of the Dagger Duchess in the opposite lane though, and that's gonna be solid defense all around.
And NATO was nearly able to get the Fisherman into a worse spot, but I think maybe it got body blocked a little bit from pulling all the way in.
Yeah.
And that was very, very good for Ban. You saw Morten not totally pleased with the results of what he thought was a good play.
Yeah, it seemed like a really scary push, but that Giant Skelly, actually one of the best counters to Electro Giant because of that body block, keeping the Fisherman a little bit more towards the middle, but also just the fact that it does a pretty solid amount of damage. Overall, though, I would give Morten the matchup advantage here. The Goblin Cage can be really tough to break through with Royal Giant. As well, the Bowler and the Phoenix can be tough to break through since Ban does not have a big spell.
And it's interesting to see the resurgence of certain cards, in particular the Giant Skeleton, which was one of the mainstays of the CRL meta back in 2019 through some of early 2020, and then after some touches began to fall off. But Giant Skeleton, very specific use cases, Juicy, but very powerful in those use cases.
Yeah, I think Giant Skeleton, especially with the Dagger Duchess introduction to the meta, has given the Giant Skelly even more hope because Giant Skelly has a lot of health. He does a great job of tanking those daggers to, you know, make them run out so you can break through with these pushes. The problem, though, is that Morten's defense, it doesn't really rely on the Dagger Duchess, which is why I really like Electro Giant in the current meta. We see the Bomber, the Bowler, the Phoenix, the Goblin Cage, and even the Tornado that can be used on these defenses. Royal Giant does get one shot on tower, but it's not going to be enough to win the game just because Morten does have that lightning in his back pocket.
We are seeing a little less spammy of the beatdown troop play out of Morten here in this matchup. You know, we've seen, talked about it a bunch, the Golem being played hyper-aggressive, the Lava Hound being played hyper-aggressive. Talk to me about you being specifically a very solid, one of the top E-Giant players. Why is Morten playing more conservatively here?
Yeah, I mean, E-Giant, like I said earlier, is just that one deck that's a beatdown deck and a control deck at the same time. You're able to defend and counter push, and when it comes down to it, you are able to attack aggressively and make those big pushes as well. Right now, you know, he is in the damage deficit. Ban continues to just stack the lanes and go for the arrow cycle. So Morten is going to have to find an opportunity to attack eventually, but hopefully he's able to do that in double or triple elixir.
Ban sets up with the Giant Skeleton and just shutting down this lane. And we have not seen really much of any play in the left-hand lane. Both players choosing to go to one side. Now the Evo Archers will split. We'll see if Morten decides to put a little pressure in the opposite direction. NATO to hold. Cage will be out of cycle. I think he can get close, but gonna have to DPS this RG down. And now here we go. E-Giant in front, takes one to see if he can give one. Morten looking to get on offense and triple.
Yeah, can you break through this Giant Skeleton though? Lightning gonna drop down, getting some solid damage. Fisherman on the board. He's not gonna tornado that in because the E-Giant is pretty much already gone. This is not looking good though for Morten. Wait, here comes the Evo. Barry with Tornado though, gets 2 shots on tower. Can he deal with the counter push?
So here we go. Last chance for Morten. 23 seconds left. This is game number 1. Elimination not on the board yet. Lightning cycle in. Royal Giant down opposite direction. 15 seconds left. NATO's going to have to play defense here. Up ahead by a hair right now is Morten. Arrows should be available for ban. Does Morten get back to Lightning one more time? Arrows come down. They give a ever so slight lead. Lightning does come down, though, in time. There is no chance to block that. Your troops don't have the HP for it. Morten takes game number 1 in a very tightly contested opening game. So we'll see if he goes in that direction. Of course, he does have the pieces for a drill NATO control. Log out here, so expecting maybe something smaller and more cycling.
Okay, Log and Archer Queen. Could be a cycle type deck. Morten with a Mega Minion immediately made me think of Lava Hound, but then I see a Firecracker, and I'm not really sure what to say about that. Archer Queen getting a lot of value here to start us off.
Very good value. Is this Pigs maybe from Bancito?
Yeah, Pigs could make a lot of sense. Okay, looks like it is going to be the Miner, though. Once again, Miner is going to be taken out immediately by the Dagger Duchess. And Morten with a Tombstone. I guess it's a Royal Giant deck from Morten. Going to be taking a page out of Ban's book here.
And Morten shaking his head here, not liking the early exchanges in this one. Cycles his Fisherman in the back. Royal Giant more likely now even. From Morten as the Fisherman comes down. Mortar Miner from Ban here. And of course, you see Morten calling the good game. Mortar very nice against these Royal Giants.
I wonder why he's calling the good game so early. Makes me think maybe Morten's last card is Lightning and he isn't going to be able to play it since he played it previously. I don't know, it could be an interesting conspiracy theory, but Skeleton King on the board. Fire Spirit does connect. That's a fireball's worth of damage for one elixir. We see more Morten head shakes here. Yeah, seems like something's going wrong here, or maybe he just doesn't like the matchup, but I'm not sure.
I'm just double checking a couple of things here. I don't see any repeated cards from Morten in this deck, so should be fine on that account.
I just mean that what if his last card's Lightning? Then he won't be able to play. He won't get disqualified if he doesn't play it, but he might have to play with a 7-card deck here.
Could be possible that that was done, and that might have been the exchange. Now, of course, if it is and he wins this with 7 cards, that would be one of the great CRL moments. But again, that means it's almost impossible to break past these Mortars.
Yeah, the Mortar and the Archer Queen. We do see a Skeleton King ability to try and force out the Archer Queen ability, and it's not Lightning, so I am a conspiracy theorist after all. We see the Fireball coming through. And I guess he just must not like this match. I mean, it does make sense. Mortar and the Archer Queen going to be tough to break through, even if you don't have the Lightning, even if you can't play it or don't have it. So that's going to be something that he's going to have to try and figure out a way to deal with.
What do you call a Clash Royale conspiracy theorist, right? Clashing on? Is that what we're going with here?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Oh, here we go. Right-hand side. I think the Archer Queen took a bit of a hit here, but she does stay invisible. Fireball not going to clear. Evo Firecracker staying on the board a very long time. Does she get one more shot on this Dagger Duchess Tower? And she does.
It activates King. It doesn't matter that much, though, because it is Royal Giant here that we're talking about. And Morten going to have the damage lead for the first time this game. Ban setting up another Mortar on the defense here. I like this placement. 1 tile up to prevent any fireball value, and he goes for the poison cycle. Morten has to find a way to break through yet again, though. He did get the Firecracker connection earlier. Maybe he can try to do that again.
Queen plus guards at the bridge, log out of cycle, and Miner to pull the Skeleton King way to the back, although push starting to build here. Archer Queen stays alive long enough to make this a little annoying here. Firecracker goes to the left-hand lane, Mortar on its work. And now aggressive RG here, so not going back front, instead just getting right into the bridge fight is Morten, trying to see if he can cycle his way back around to another Royal Giant. 1796 to 1809, now 1751. Lead changes back and forth. Ban choosing to add to that one with the poison.
Poison down. We see a pre-Fisherman trying to lock onto something. We do see the lock onto the Arch Queen, which at least will slow down the shots of the Queen ability, but the Dagger Duchess locks on top of the Royal Giant, which really starts to shred down the HP. Morten really desperately trying to cycle back to another Royal Giant here, and the Skeleton King ability try and get any sort of damage he can.
And look at that, a ton of damage. Skeletons sneak through. Eva Mortar comes out late. Firecracker will distract Log to clean through, and Royal Giant's gonna connect. Royal Giant's going to connect for a ton of damage, and Ban had a great game, lost it right there. Morten from the lower bracket, 2-0. Huge win for the 5-time world finalist.
GG's. I mean, this is the bad parts of the Dagger Duchess. Every tower troop, every card in the game has its ups and downs, its pros and cons, and